As you may know, there have been $17 million in secret payouts for harassment claims on Capitol Hill, and the money is coming from what is essentially a hush fund. Well, now a possible solution in the form of a bipartisan House bill that aims to curb sexual misconduct in Washington. The bill would require the disclosure of all settlement payments funded by taxpayers, prohibit the future use of taxpayer money to pay off sexual misconduct claims against Congress members, and prevent those members from using office budgets to camouflage payments. That's what Conyers has allegedly done. Joining me now to discuss is the co-sponsor of the bill, Florida Congressman Ron DeSantis. Welcome back to the show, Congressman.
Good to see you.
So tell me, describe, how does this hush fund work? How has it been working in Congress?
So there was a fund established in 1995, and it was one permanent fund that the Congress doesn't have to reauthorize. It's not included in our annual budgets or appropriations bills. It just exists. And what happens is when there are claims made against members of Congress, congressional staff, and others associated with the legislative branch, this is kind of a pot of money where claims can be settled, including sexual harassment, although not limited to that.
Yeah.
So you have a situation where the incentives that are provided to members of Congress inclined to misbehave are: you can go ahead and commit misconduct, and the taxpayer will bail you out for your misconduct. And oh, by the way, we'll keep it all secret so nobody finds out about it. Well, no wonder why you have people misbehaving. So that's terrible incentives that are created.
We've also heard that people who come forward with claims are sent to sensitivity and sexual harassment training instead of having their claims looked into and investigated and taken seriously. So what does your bill exactly do?
So we have 22 years of payments for various things, about $17 million. Those should not be secret payments. The taxpayer has a right to know how their money is being used. So my bill would require that the amount, the nature of the claim, and the perpetrator be disclosed to the American people.
Yeah.
And then going forward, we're preventing the taxpayer from being forced to bail out members of Congress for misconduct.
Yeah, because that is just wrong. And having the taxpayers foot that expense, you know, that's not an appropriate mechanism. But also what happens in D.C., and I know this happens with ethics charges, particularly in the House, is that's used as a political tool. So it seems like it would be really easy for a group of Democrats to accuse a Republican of doing something untoward, and then would those allegations, even if they're completely unfounded, would those be made public?
Well, so these are for settlement. So if there were unfounded allegations and nothing happened, then it's not even going to be necessarily in the record. If there was a settlement made because a member decided, look, I didn't do anything wrong, but I'm willing to do this just to move on. That happens in the private sector all the time.
Yeah.
Then what's wrong with erring on the side of transparency? The member can explain to the constituents, hey, here's what happened. It wasn't valid, but I didn't want to drag this out. I thought I could serve you better by doing it. Maybe the constituents will understand. Maybe they won't. But shouldn't they have a right to know that?
Yes, absolutely. I mean, this was really, and it was your colleague Jackie Speer who brought this to light last week, correct?
Right. Well, this is actually about 2 weeks ago, or about a week and a half ago. So very few of us knew about it because we were never called upon to vote on it or conduct oversight on it. Now this is something that's front and center, and I don't see any way how Congress can continue keeping all this a secret. We need to clear out the underbrush, and sunlight is the best disinfectant.
You do, absolutely. And I think every industry is taking a cold, hard look at themselves and their practices, trying to figure out how to keep people like this out of power so they can't violate and create future victims. But I'm wondering, what is the mood like on Capitol Hill? Are some of your colleagues nervous that they will be the next named and possibly asked to resign?
Well, I think that there are some people that are nervous, but
like who?
I think the American people will find that out relatively quickly, hopefully. But I think most of the members are coming up to me saying, look, I don't want this hanging over Congress's head, because then that gets imputed by the public as if everybody is guilty of this. So really, the best thing to do for the Congress as an institution is to make this stuff public, prevent the abuse of tax dollars going forward, and then the members who are conducting themselves well and working hard, their constituents will know that, and members that have had issues, they're going to have to explain that and govern themselves accordingly.